Welcome back to the
Hi.
Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pasta Jardula.
I'm Fiorella.
Sorry for
And
stepping on your boots there, girl.
You stepped on my boots?
Well, yeah, I stepped on your line.
You did.
I'm just so used to coming in first with the energy, get it up here, and then, Fiorella calms us down and gets all serious. And when we get really mundane and really sad and want to slice our throats, I come in there and make us happy again, and then we get back down there, and Fia gives you the savagery
I'm
of
only
what's going
calm on camera, but off camera, it's another story.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
we know this.
We do. What's going on in Venezuela or the embassy?
Oh my God.
Fams?
So I don't know if many of you have seen my video with Kevin Zeese, but I interviewed him. He was at the embassy and he was telling me how the situation was going and how the pro-coup Guaido protesters were very rude and causing a lot of trouble for them. Well, the situation has escalated, and as of this morning, they also cut off the water. So last night they cut off the electrical power of the entire embassy. This is a Venezuelan embassy in D.C. if you haven't been following along. And basically the Code Pink, the activist journalist, are all there trying to protect the embassy from being overtaken by the Guaido supporters, because in that sense, then they can come in and install their own mini little Venezuelan pro-Guaido government. And so they have, all these activists have been there and they've been kind of protecting the peace. Holding it down. They've been, with very low means, having very little food, water, etc. But they've been okay. But now the situation has gotten worse because the pro-Guaido supporters have blocked the entrance and have kept them from getting any kind of food and any kind of supplies. And so last night, the United States government and the pro-Guaido, people broke international law by forcing them to go without food, water, and power. So the Secret Service and the police that were there have arrested the president of the Veterans for Peace National, Jerry Condon, for trying to get food in there. He actually was trying to get an actual cucumber there. And they arrested him for trying to get a cucumber. It's ridiculous. And not only did they say the cucumber was like a missile, they literally called it a missile. They actually beat him down and injured him pretty seriously. And if we have a picture of him, of what he looks like, he's this elderly veteran.
Veterans for Peace shirt on, by the way.
Yeah, look at his shirt. I mean, and the Secret Service did all this, and a journalist caught this entirely on video, by the way. So let's go ahead and start taking a look, because the most impactful thing about this whole thing are the videos that we have. So this is from Alex Rubenstein's Twitter. So you can see the beginning of that. And you see, and
They're pulling him off. Yeah, look at it.
do you see the sign that says illegal aliens?
They're arresting somebody who is trying to bring food. That's all he is doing. He is bringing food because the people surrounding this don't let any food come through. And now they're applauding.
Yeah.
Hey, fam. Mm-hmm. Can we digress for a second? Because I want to kind of ask about, so the audience understands exactly what's going on. Because a lot of people that are getting news to this, they're like, well, what's going on? Why are they trying to sweat them out of sorts? I don't know what the word would be, or just get them out. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, they're obviously trying to get them out, but now they're shutting off the electricity, not letting food go in, using the Guaido supporters to intimidate them. Why are they trying to do this?
Okay, so there is an ambassador named Carlos Vecchio, and he's the one leading this. He's an ambassador to the, whatever president they want to call him, Guaido. And him and the people are there to protest the anti-interventionists there. They're trying to get them out, because if they get a hold of the Venezuelan embassy, they can then act accordingly to the Guaido type of government, brings them closer for the United States to establish and install their own coup, which is what we're trying to do, which ironically in Venezuela, it's not going well for them at all.
No.
They are failing miserably.
And this coup.
And the United States, Donald Trump and his like minions are acting like, you know, to do whatever they can to get them out of there, because this is very symbolic. An embassy is an extension of the country in a foreign country. So basically, if they are able to do this, then they can have more control over what goes on. And so they are trying to literally keep that from happening, and they've been there for a while, and they will be there as long as it takes. They said they're not going to leave even without water, even without food, even without any kind of means.
These are the people that are in there,
yes.
the Kevin Zeeses and the Medea
yes,
Benjamin.
exactly.
So you're saying that pretty much they're trying to get them out so they can delegitimize Maduro's government,
yes.
get Guaido's government into the embassy, and legitimize their government.
Right, in the eyes of the American people.
And in the eyes of American people of the West, obviously.
Yeah.
And you're also saying pretty much, and what we saw from Max Blumenthal, is that Trump and Pompeo and Bolton, they're okaying this type of behavior. They're instructing the Secret Service to stop protesters and people from trying to get food and whatnot.
They're breaking the law.
They're breaking the law.
Yeah, which is what I'm going to go into in a minute.
Rogue governments.
They are absolutely breaking the law, and so is the Secret Service, and so are the police that are there. And we'll talk about this later, but people have compared what's going on here to what happened in Charlottesville with the level of racism, vitriol, and just the actions of the law enforcement. Yes, the fascism of these police officers and who are okaying this kind of behavior. And the Guaido supporters are turning it around and saying, oh, but they're the ones being violent. But there's no denying it because we have videos. So journalist Anya Parampil, who has been on RT and has been on site following the situation, did a really great job by covering from the window. She got some footage from the window, and she pretty much has this 25-minute video. We're only going to see a couple snippets of it, but it's going to show you the beginning of what they did to this man, who is a veteran and older.
For peace.
And about 5 minutes and 20 seconds. We'll go to it, and so you guys can see.
There they are attacking an old man. They're arresting a Veterans for Peace activist for throwing a cucumber. Oh my God! Look at this. This is being live streamed right now. Secret Service, the world is watching. The world is watching. Look at that. Secret.
Gentlemen, if you don't see this here and you're denying this, it's sad. Okay, he's trying to get food into a building for peace activists, and they're bringing him down, beating him down, making him bleed. I mean, he's got a Veterans for Peace shirt on. This is what we talk about when we talk about the fascism on the right. Okay,
and
this is it.
And this is also being propelled by the left. This isn't just a right at work here. This is both the Democrats and the Republicans who are pushing for this, because there's many of the neoliberals, the New York Times, CNN, talking about how, we need to free Venezuela. And there's a whole other movement that's majorly made up of pro-capitalist Venezuelans who live here, who have no idea actually the intricacies of what's going on, because they don't even know. A lot of these people don't even know, because Latin America has really, really complex issues. But it all goes back to the fact that the United States intervenes and makes things 1,000 things worse for the people in the country in order to get them to support a pro-capitalist agenda.
Wait a second, fam. Are you trying to tell me that the establishment neoliberal Democrats are standing by and supporting the fascist moves of Donald Trump?
They are, but they're just not talking about it. So we have a little bit more, because I want you to see this, because at about 9 minutes, and she starts getting really pissed, and she's really upset at what she's seeing, because she's seeing all of this live. She's seeing, this peaceful guy be attacked. And it's also propelled by the Guaido supporters, who are being protected by the Secret Service, kind of like in Charlottesville.
Yeah. And they were very racist, too, by the way. do you protect? That's awesome.
Yeah, they're asking them who they protect because basically we need to know exactly where they stand.
Cucumbers. You know how foolish that makes you look?
He's just sitting there.
Secret Service, this is live! Everybody in the world just saw that who's watching!
Wow.
Everyone!
Everybody saw that.
You threw an elderly man to the ground for trying to deliver food to people who are legally inside this embassy! You are lying! You are lying to
Lies
the
upon
American
lies
people.
upon lies.
Secret Service, you are lying to the U.S. public who have called you repeatedly to ask if you will observe international law and allow for food to be delivered to this embassy. I am a reporter who just streamed everything you did to that man online. It will exist forever, and you will not be able to deny that you are violating international law any longer. You just threw a peace activist to the ground for trying to deliver a cucumber. That is the President of Veterans for Peace.
The president.
Are any of you veterans? I would like to ask you, Secret Service, are any of you veterans? Do you know what you've just done? Do you know that the U.S. public is watching you?
Yeah, powerful.
Anya,
Powerful stuff.
Anya,
Pill.
great work, Anya. And
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of police officers are veterans too, as well. And man,
Yeah,
the
they might be a lot
yeah.
of those, and it's like that idea of being a what is it? The stormtrooper, right? You're where do we draw the line between obedience and morality? Like where you need to, as a human being, be like, okay, maybe this is what I've been told to do, but maybe this is morally wrong. Maybe I should just step back. And it's one thing that we're all going to come to terms with, I think, in the next couple years. And I wanted to.
It makes me hurt right now because they could have just let him do that and say, okay, stop it, and moved him away. It's not like I have to pull him down to the ground and start beating people.
Yep.
And I think everybody's got to see this stuff and understand where we're. Listen, we had a conversation as a family tonight, as a group, as a workplace, about where we are as state of humans in this world and what's going on. And everything around us seems to be coming to a tipping point, a boiling point. When I see this stuff over here, it's time to really take to the streets, fam.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to
We
really
should
fucking
all
take
be-
to the streets.
But nobody's showing this. MSNBC,
Nope.
CNN, they're not going to talk about this because they don't want you to see this, because they want you to believe the fabricated narrative that they're trying to push so we can feel better about bringing democracy into Venezuela when we're actually doing the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
And it's a hard pill to swallow, but you got to start swallowing it.
Yeah.
One of the Embassy Protection Collective members then actually called the ambulance. None of those people, the police or the Secret Service, called the ambulance. He's just sitting there for like 20 minutes, injured
Bleeding,
as hell. Yeah. And finally, one of the people from the Embassy Collective called the ambulance. And then we have Kevin Cease, who we did an interview just a few days ago, and I'm so glad I did, because I knew what he was telling me. He was like, we're gonna be there, things might escalate, and they have. And so I'm glad I got to talk to him before. Yeah. I'm gonna try to talk to him again, but at about 12 minutes and 15 seconds we have Kevin Cease, who comes on as well.
And if you don't know Kevin Cease, you better know, because he can tell you everything about South and Central America. Go to his website. He's been on RT, Real News, Al Jazeera. He's been on everything. He'll tell you about Nicaragua, Honduras. Kevin Cease.
Now, U.S. public is watching. They are watching. Secret Service serves the rich. Who do you protect, Secret Service, and who do you serve? That's what I would like to know as a reporter who was assaulted by Carlos Vecchio's thugs for trying to ask a question.
She was the day prior.
Now we see the violence of their mob. Now you see the violence of this mob that the Secret Service has allowed to run roughshod over this embassy. No other embassy would be treated like this. Only Venezuela is treated like this. This is grotesque by the Secret Service. Do your job. You're required under international law to protect embassies, not enable mobs to attack them. Now you see the violence of this mob. They're violent. That's why they fled Venezuela, they'd be arrested there for the violence they perpetrated in Venezuela as well. This is a criminal mob. You are allowing to control this embassy. You have to stop this siege. Do your job, Secret Service. Do your job.
Secret Service, I am a reporter and I have a question. Would you allow this to take place at the Israeli embassy? Would you allow this to happen at the Saudi embassy? Why are you allowing this to happen at the Venezuelan embassy? Why? We're watching you. Yes, you looking at me right now. Your face is online. We saw all of you do that. We saw all of you beat an elderly man for trying to deliver a cucumber. How can that be described as anything other than cowardly? I'm a journalist. I'm looking for the words. What are the words I will use to describe?
It's crazy. So they're trying to get him, Jerry, the guy, the Veterans for Peace president, for on top of resisting arrest, for breaking the law, they're trying to get him for assaulting a police officer, which makes the case a little bit more complicated. They could have released him a few hours, but because they put in that third charge right as they were arresting him, they said he was assaulting a police officer. I highly doubt that this elderly man who was attacked by like 8 of them was assaulting a police officer. This is how the law is really not there for the people. It is there for those who control the power. Yeah. And that's what we can't be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, terrible. Yeah. I love what Anya said about what would you guys do this to the Israeli embassy?
Absolutely. I love that point because they wouldn't. They wouldn't do this. Not to our friends who we supply with arms, who are then doing whatever it is they want. And you're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, because that is a huge important part of what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go back to we're looking at this Venezuelan coup that's taking place on live TV right now for the benefit of the rich, the 1%. We'll take a look at the last coup that happened in 2009 and the results and talk a little bit why. I mean, all we have to do is look back less than 10 years to see what happened in Honduras, what's happening there now. So, it's crazy. And this is right here, to me, this is the mic drop to those of you who thought that Donald Trump was going to be some Lone Star, wild, off the grid, off the map fucking president that was going to be against these non-interventionist wars like he campaigned when he was yelling at the Bushes for lying about Iraq. No, he's the same thing. He's a deep state hack pony, and what they're doing right now is disgusting. And they're going to do this, and so many poor and indigenous people are going to suffer because of it so that their friends on Wall Street and everywhere else, their lobbyist buddy, can make money.
Exactly. So let me just also explain to you guys that the Carlos Vecchio, the man she claimed was involved in the assault of her, entered the blackout. He's the one that ordered the blackout that took place. And he said, in this is a translation because he said this in Spanish, as you guys can see it there. We have decided to give them a bit of the experience of living in Venezuela under the failed socialism of Maduro. As of this moment, they will not have electric power. Next step, your exit. So that is what he said. And then we also have a video, a little video that is just going to be silent as I talk about this. Because what these people don't realize is that they're breaking international law under the Vienna Diplomatic Convention, mainly under Article 25, but it's also under a couple of other articles as well. And, well, you can just show the picture. That's fine. So we have here, you see Article 22, Article 23.
It's not like they listen to these. They always
they
ignore these laws anyway. Every single piece of international law of the United States, they use their veto power or their muscles to ignore it anyway. So it's like nobody's going to be held responsible for this. And this goes right up to the top.
But it says
Pompeo, Bolton.
They're supposed to protect him.
Yeah, they are.
They're supposed to. The Secret Service is supposed to protect the people who are at the embassy. They are doing the exact opposite. It also says Article 25 is the most prevalent one. It says the sending state and the head of the mission shall be exempt from all national, regional, or let me see, what does it say? Regional or municipal dues and taxes and reject the premises of the mission, which whether onward or leased. So basically, they're supposed to protect the people there. They're not supposed to cut off their power. They're not supposed to cut off their water. They're not supposed to do exactly what they're doing. Yeah. And also, another thing is that the here's 25, the one I wanted to read. The receiving state shall accord full facilities at the function of the mission. So that's exactly what they're not doing. And then the bill the electric bill, because they checked. The electric bill is at zero. So it's not like they haven't paid the electric bill. They have nothing to do with the electric bill. The people who are the legal owners of the embassy pay the electric bill. It's at zero. So that's what they're shutting. That's what they're doing right now. They have no like legal reason to do what they're doing. And also right here, Mint Press, right? Mint Press has a lot of really great stuff a lot of the time. So they did a whole letter basically asking, petitioning journalists to stand with these people at the embassy because it's completely illegal. That's that's the point of it. It's not only immoral, it's illegal under international law. And she mentions Anya and Alex there for her.
Unfortunately, fam, I don't think anybody's going to have to pay a price here in this one because, once again, nobody ever goes to jail for breaking laws and doing anything illegal, especially the elites in this country. I would like to hang somebody on this thing right here. I would like to fucking make sure that John Bolton of Pompeo gets thrown to the fucking street.
Oh, yeah, this is disgusting.
For breaking international law. It is disgusting as can be. I mean, we're actually just... we're playing fucking God of the world, but the United States always does that with their elites. And right here, what can we do? We can just keep protesting, keep going to the streets. Jorge Ariaza, what did he say?
He's the legitimate prime minister of Venezuela, foreign minister of Venezuela, and
he's the guy who's allowed to be there.
Yeah, and he says he's in Venezuela, but he says our recognition of the dignity and firmness of the protective collective of our former U.S. embassy. They besiege, assault, block, and even cut off electricity. Does it not sound familiar to you? It is the same illegal strategy of imperialism against the Venezuelan people. So he's saying it's a microcosm of what that the United States is doing in Venezuela. And it is, because an embassy, like I said, is an extension of the country. And this is exactly what's happening in Venezuela. This is exactly what we're doing to Venezuelans abroad. It's ironic, and it's there. And here's a couple more important videos.
In the dark, huh?
In the dark with a candle. Kevin Sees is talking, and this is kind of a really nice video because it summarizes pretty much everything that happened.
I love this guy. If you don't know Kevin Zeese, now you know. Get him. Kumbaya, baby.
Hi, I'm talking to you from the Venezuelan Embassy with the Embassy Protection Collective. The authorities just illegally turned off our electricity.
Kumbaya, my lord.
We expected this, we're prepared for it, and we're not leaving. It's ironic that the United States government attacked Venezuela's electric grid, and now they're attacking the Embassy of Venezuela's electricity.
He spoke about that.
They attacked Venezuela with sanctions that meant food was difficult to get. They've used sanctions to prevent us from getting food as well. The people of Venezuela have stood in solidarity and strength against these attacks. We're going to do the same thing here. We're not leaving. We're going to resist. We're going to stand in solidarity with the Venezuelan people and the elected government of Venezuela.
Wait. No, go back. This just shows a little bit of summary of what happened.
Oh, they're down there on the ground in the manhole cutting the electricity.
Right.
That's fucked up.
So they caught them. They caught all of this on video.
Oh, that's
exactly
so
what they're doing.
fucked up. They can't even deny it now. If you watch Snowden the movie, fam, you'll see they planted bugs in the electric grids all over these countries that they build stuff in. So Kevin Zeese talked about it. They cut the power in Venezuela, and once again, that's to destroy the country within. Our boy Ernesto gave me that book. I was looking at that book. Ooh, we have more stuff. Who's this?
That is the Vecchio, the staff of the Vecchio.
With all the those people look like really starving, hungry Venezuelans, indigenous and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like they went down some street where a bunch of Venezuelan people hang out in New York or in Washington D.C. that are uppity, rich, and come over here and protest and whatnot.
Right.
You see the people in the streets marching with Maduro. They're poor indigenous people. They're the workers of the country. Yep. And once again, he just wants to give money and love to the workers. Same thing that Hugo Chavez did. Maduro was an extension of that, but we can't have that in our country. You know why? They got oil, they got minerals. We got to sell them weapons and so on.
Yep. So it was kind of a little summary of everything. And then the last video I believe I have is that this young man talking about how what he witnessed, and he was one of the people that were supporting the embassy, people from the outside, because apart from the people that were on the inside, the embassy people had comrades that went in there in support on the sidelines. If you saw, they were standing there in solidarity, and one of them told his experience, said that it was extremely similar to what happened in Charlottesville.
Huh.
Last time you saw something like this?
Last time I saw something like this was in Charlottesville, at least when it comes to the fact that I had a police officer a foot away last night watching me get beat, watching me be choked, and did nothing. The police did nothing while many of us were assaulted last night. And now to see the president of Veterans for Peace getting arrested and violently thrown to the ground by the police, that's just horrible to see. It shows that they, one, don't know what they're doing. They have no clear sense of direction on how to enforce a policy here. And it shows that they clearly support the opposite side and that they don't want a peaceful protest from either side. They want to see violence.
Thank you so much.
Ah, fam.
And that's, and it's crazy. And just so you guys know what's going on in Venezuela, recently they arrested the vice president of Venezuela's National Assembly, Edgar Zambrano, for his participation in the recent failed coup attempt in Venezuela. And the mainstream media wants to show that Maduro is losing, when actually that's not the case, because several people are going down for the coup that failed in Venezuela. And this is just a couple of pictures that we have from last night, put up by Alex and I think Code Pink and the people that were there. So we just have the embassy in the dark and just the people outside right there. So to summarize, the electricity has been cut off for the entire building. They also cut off the water supply. The multiple peace activists were assaulted and arrested. The opposition has blocked food and supplies from getting there. And the federal agents and police outside supporting the coup are breaking the law.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think a lot of people saw this coming right now. They didn't think about this. We were so concentrated on Venezuela. We didn't think what was going to happen in our own backyard in the embassy. And then all shit is broken loose. But it's great to see people like Kevin Z's, Medea Benjamin show up to protect that gentleman from the Veterans for Peace, the president. I am sorry that you had to experience that, but we will not forget that. We will stand in solidarity. And if there's any way we can help out your program, your group, your cause, just let us know, and we'll be there because we're all about peace.
And I think a lot of there's a couple people that are going to be doing fundraisers. I know Carlos Martinez was talking about something, and there I'm not going to show it because it's in Spanish, but there's videos of people in Venezuela literally saying, "We stand with you, we support you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for keeping us there, for keeping the peace, for protecting Venezuela." All these people, Venezuelans, giving them videos of hope and stuff, because there are people in Venezuela who support Maduro. In fact, it's the majority of the people of Venezuela who support Maduro. So it's kind of this idea that we have to get out of our heads that we're helping Venezuela by installing a CIA puppet. We are actually helping to destroy.
Yeah.
And the only two people that are the leading candidates that, besides this gentleman named Seth Moulton, who was a congressman and he's now running as president. I barely ever heard of him, but Bernie Sanders and Tulsi have signed the resolution SJ 11 HR 1004 to stay out of Venezuela, and they are pretty much the only two major candidates. You look at the rest of them, they have not signed. Kristen Gillibrand, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, Tim Ryan, Eric Swalwell, and Elizabeth Warren haven't signed that. So
course,
one of the reasons why
very flippy floppy.
I
woman.
love Tulsi is I support Tulsi over Warren is because of her foreign policy. I think Tulsi's foreign policy is always on point. She's made several things about Venezuela. She's looking to literally take us off wars. She's talking about North Korea. She's actually vowed this morning, or actually a few hours ago, to completely denuclearize everything and keep us out of war.
I mean, we also have a video we just released about where the Democratic candidates stand on Venezuela. We have their tweets,
video.
their statements. And once again, Elizabeth Warren is one of those we kind of highlighted, that when she came out first, she was like against sanctions, because people don't understand, the American population doesn't understand how bad sanctions really are, and they kill. You even had a point where Peter Buttigieg was trying to say we can target sanctions to just do this. Like, no, you can't target sanctions. They hurt the poor people,
They hurt
and the
the-
government
yeah,
never
the economy.
pays the price. It's the poor indigenous people. And Elizabeth Warren has been very flippy-floppy with this, gone back and forth. So please go on over to our YouTube, like, share, and subscribe.
YouTube, the Convo Couch.
Yes, the Convo Couch YouTube. We have 2 particular videos out there. Fam has a Buttigieg video. Buttigieg, I say his name wrong.
Everybody
Buttigieg.
says his name wrong. It's
Right.
Booty Judge.
Buttigieg has a video out there, and she explains, breaks it down on why he's not a progressive. And I've been disturbed by a lot of people out there. It's like, oh, I like this guy Buttigieg, and I'm like, no, he's terrible just because he talks nice. I call him Buttigieg because to me he's just like Obama, platitudes, empty promises, and of course we have to keep our eye on Elizabeth Warren. And I also want to point out that Andrew Yang has been pretty good on the situation, but we have to also stop talking about Venezuelans' elections being delegitimizing them, because they were considered to be some of the better election processes in the world when Jimmy Carter went there in 2012.
Yep.
And people who covered this last election, Blumenthal, Mattei, they even said it was legit. I mean, they have better elections than us, fam.
Yeah.
They have better elections than us.
I think the majority of people, including politicians, don't really know, so they should shut up before they make a mistake and flub and say, oh, well, just kind of follow the same narrative without even doing the research. It's it's really easy to do, especially when you don't know about a subject. But no, their elections were absolutely legitimate.
Forms of identification.
The idea that they weren't is coming from the pro-interventionist establishment of both the neocons and the neoliberals, which is they love war, they love sanctions, and that's where they will always agree. Yeah. So, Apostle, you wanted to talk about a further point about this.
Well, I want to talk about the regime change war and whatnot. I wanted to just go over this briefly because I want to kind of get a little depth. In fact, my next video I want to do about pointing out some of the regime change wars. But fam, if you work for the State Department, if you were working for those Secret Service people, you were on that side, the Guaido people and stuff like that, what would be your reasons, legitimate reasons as a country for regime change war? I mean, I put a couple answers down.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's anything springs with you, but it's always they're saying it's humanitarian crisis.
Right.
Well, what about this country right now? What about that one reporter who said, okay, you're worried about people on the streets. She drove through the streets of L.A., and she showed all these people with all these tents, and that's happening everywhere across our country. And when people say the economy's doing good, I'm like, no, it's not. It's doing good for some, but for the poor and working people, it's doing shit. And I really wish that the Democrats had the gall to attack Trump on that, but they don't. Instead they attack him on this false Russian narrative or Stormy Daniels or the way he is, or he's a racist. But they can't attack him on policy because they supported these policies themselves.
That's why they don't.
Or they say, oh, we have to remove this crazy dictator. Maduro is nuts. He's crazy. He's starving his people out. I mean, didn't you tell us, fam, that the guy was a bus driver?
Yeah, he was a bus driver. And not only that, the things that are starving Venezuelans that hurt the Venezuelan economy were the sanctions that we imposed.
Yes.
Since trying to get Chavez out of there when he won in 1998. Yeah. I mean, this has been going on for over 20 years now.
Yeah, it's been, and the last thing would be, fam, is they want to spread this democracy.
They do.
We got to spread the democracy. Back in the days when, I mean, I'm going to go into something right now. We're going to talk about Guatemala. Well, Eisenhower removed the president of Guatemala years ago in 1954 because the elites in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, which we call the North Triangle, wanted their resources, fam. Because that's the number one real reason, as we start off with. In my video, we talk about Venezuela. What does Venezuela have that is the biggest in the world, fam? Oil reserves. And Donald Trump has spoke openly about going after these oil reserves, taking it from the people. Chavistas, Hugo Chavez, he nationalized the oil. Maduro, same thing. But since then, we've been crippling them on their ways to drill it, to sell it, to get loans. We've been demonetizing their banking systems so they can't get it. But we want those resources, just as we did back in the 50s in Guatemala and Honduras, and that's why I don't eat bananas. Fam, you know what the second reason is why we will go into these situations? We got to sell them weapons. Once we take over their government, once we have our puppet in, we can cause him to, not only he's going to fight his own people, but we can get him to sell weapons to him. And we can force those countries into contracts, long-term contracts with us, with Israel, our partners, with England, with France, these group of people who are going to make sure that we're going to extract more money from the Honduranian people, like we did in 2009, because we're going to have to sell them guns.
Oh, side note on that, Guaido said recently that he wants to amend things with Israel by the way. So you can see the connections happening here, right? Like Guaido is going to be a pro-Israel, pro-Saudi, the same kind of bullshit. That is exactly what we don't want. None of us want that. We don't even want that in our country. Trump and the neoliberals want that, but we don't want
it. It's not good for us.
It's not good for
anybody. He's even said that he's going to take away the oil. He's going to start privatizing the oil. Right away, Guaido has said that. And Guaido is educated in the States. The people of Venezuela don't even know him, and they're trying to put this guy in. This is fucking disgusting shit. But number 3, fam, that's the reason when we sit in this room, we talk about this. A big reason why they don't want a socialistic government or a socialistic president succeeding is because they don't want us to see social mobility in these countries. Right. We're going to talk about Manuel Zelaya in a second. I'm going to show you some reasons whether it be us to take. I'm going to go over them quickly. Taking the resources, selling weapons, and then the third one is stopping social mobility. Because once these leaders get in, you know what they want to do, fam? They want to give free education. They want to give free health care. They want to give maternity leave. They want to give the indigenous people land.
Terrible.
They don't want you to see as Americans
that these third world countries are giving people, that. And Mexico's finally starting to do this. And that's why you're seeing the aligning of certain people coming together. And right now, North Korea and the United States are like this.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot going on with that, and then Iran and Russia, and we can see a potential for World War III. We've been seeing this coming for the last few months.
Yeah.
And we absolutely don't need that.
Yeah.
And it would help if we would stop getting involved in Venezuela.
Yeah. It would help if we got the right people elected into our government. And these are the areas where we hope we keep pushing Bernie Sanders further to the left when it comes to dealing with Russia. Because the number one job of any president for the last 40 years that I've been alive, that I've known, is to keep us out of war with Russia, the other nuclear power. That should be the number one job. But it seems like these neocons and these neolibs, they want one world order and they keep pushing situations. Joe Biden, who these fucking neoliberals just rolled out, was a big pro-NATO guy, pro-Ukraine guy. The guy who just stinks and reeks of fucking war, and yet you want to put him up there. But let's talk about the number one reasons. We're going to talk about, and I didn't get any video for this one, fam, because there's so many videos online. If you haven't gone online, Banana Republic isn't just a clothing store, by the way. Banana Republic is an actual term that came from when in the 40s and the 50s, when certain oligarchs went there and aligned themselves with people in Guatemala, Honduras, and Salvador, which is known as the Triangles, to take over the fields. They built railroads, and for building the railroads, the government gave them land, took it away from people and gave it to them. And they took these fields and they built bananas, and they planted bananas and grew bananas, and it became a banana republic. So their whole land was stolen from them. Some of the best bananas in the world come from these areas, and it was called the UFC. Doctrine. Yeah. United Fruit Company and the Vaccaro brothers, who are now Chiquita and Dole, who live and thrive, and they never pay taxes.
And that's why Pasta doesn't eat bananas.
I don't eat bananas because they took it away from the people. They don't pay taxes in these countries. They don't pay good wages. These companies have had legitimate cases against them over the last several decades of workers' rights being evaded, just the poorest conditions. So these oligarchs have made money hand over fist in these other people's countries. And anytime we've seen situations, they removed the president. In 1954, his name is Estrada Cabrera. And I can remember it easy because Maria Estrada out there, Miguel Cabrera, one of my favorite baseball players, put them together. Well, he was a socialistic leader, and they had a revolution in Guatemala in 1954. The oligarchs went to Eisenhower, and they used the red fear again. He's a commie! And then the next thing you know, they remove him. They put their own people in there. They're back in business. The people are suffering. They're stealing the bananas, their resources from the land. And now we want to do the same thing in Venezuela. And guess what this causes, fam? Migration.
Exactly.
Now they turn the country into craziness, because now we're going to go into example 2, selling weapons. Honduras, 2009, we talked about the coup. We talked about Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. They supported this stuff. Out front, they were trying to act like, oh my God, this is bad, but they got caught. WikiLeaks, more fucking emails leaked. They were having backdoor channels. They supported this coup. Even people within the Clinton Foundation, lobbyists within the Clinton Foundation, were exposed for supporting this coup. Well, guess who landed in Honduras just the other day? We'll show you. Take a look.
8,000 Israeli soldiers are being sent to Honduras as part of a treaty with Israel and the U.S. The soldiers' main mission will be to train the armed forces and national police of Honduras in border protection to stop migrants fleeing Honduras to the U.S. The Israeli soldiers will share space at the United States permanent military base in Palmerola. Honduras also has a 10-year agreement with Israel to purchase arms and other military equipment.
Boom. Fam. They were forced in. This is when they remove Zelaya. They put in their own president. Now they got a 10-year contract to buy weapons from Israel. Why the fuck would anybody need a 10-year contract to buy weapons from fucking Israel and the United States? But that's the thing. And then we have a permanent military base there, fam, now. Zelaya wanted it gone. They have it there, and they're not, you know what I'm saying? And they're training people to keep the migrants in. So it's like Fort fucking Knox. We're going to cause chaos, cause all this suffering,
and then
cause this violence, and then keep you in.
That's disgusting. We're disgusting.
That was 2 days ago, fam. Telesaur America, they just landed there to train Israel, United States, and that's why we fucking removed Manuel Zelaya.
And I'm telling you directly from the mouth of people from Honduras who have literally come to the TJ border, who I've spoken to, that they know that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were behind installing their pro-capitalist puppet there, when before that they had healthcare, they had higher wages.
Yeah.
The president that was there, Zelaya, was a very socialist-driven president, and he cared about the working class people. And then we did that. We went in there and we invaded and took over, and look what's happened to Honduras. And now this is the result that we're seeing, that they wanted this whole time, is to have Israel and the United States supply arms in order to control everything and brain over their imperialism with it's disgusting.
It's the money factories keeps going. It's off for people suffering. It's the Monroe Doctrine. We're running through South and Central America, buckshot, doing whatever the fuck we want so the elites can make the money, and then we don't want to see any social mobility. And fam, you've gone down to the border so many times. Where are a lot of these people coming from?
They're all coming, the majority of them are coming from Honduras.
So to the Trump people out there, to the Trump fans, the people who want a wall to keep the migrants from coming in, why don't we start with stopping the actual cause of migration, which is our imperialistic ways, and planting our own puppets for the oligarchs' needs and wants and financial gains. If you're an American Joe person, the working person, you don't want these people to come. That's why you want the wall, right? You said you want to. Well, this is the reason why we're having problems. And the president that you supported, that you were going build the wall, was out there campaigning as a non-interventionist, is anything but. Now he wants his own war in Venezuela, and it's disgusting. Fam, can I show you the third part? Because when they surrounded, this is what they did in June of 2009, late June. They surrounded Manuel Zelaya. He was in office for like a year, maybe, I think. Not even. They surrounded his house, 200 soldiers, took him hostage, put him on a plane, sent him to Costa Rica. They had their puppet within the government take over. And take a look at one of the local reporters, why she said they were doing this to Manuel Zelaya. And we'll give you a sense of what's going on, of why the United States does what they do.
Costa Rica. A local journalist here could not hide her frustration.
For the first time we had a president, a great president who was defending the poor, and simply because he was defending our cause, he was kidnapped this morning, and I weep these tears of indignation.
After arriving in Costa Rica, Zelaya told his supporters they should protest in peace, while insisting he remained the rightful president of Honduras.
I asked them to keep calm, but at the same time to defend the rights of society. If we ourselves cannot defend the rights of society, I called for a peaceful resistance without violence. I asked them to seek civil disobedience in a nonviolent way, so that they demand the usurpers respect Honduras' democracy.
Right there. Late in the day, was fam after they fucking surrounded his house, M14s, which is an American weapon sold at him, because M14s surrounding his house, took him hostage, put him on a plane, and sent him to Costa Rica, stripping him of his position. And what does he do? Peace advocate. People, please go out there, peacefully protest. This is the person they put in. These are the people we inspire, the Manuel Zelayas, the Hugo Chavez's, who want to help the poor. Maduro, who's doing that and don't think anything different, okay? And yet we keep removing these people left and right. Our government, fam, When are we going to wake up and smell the fucking coffee
and we
say
blame
enough
him.
is enough?
We blame these people. We call them violent. We call them thugs. We say they're gang members, all of them. No, that's not true. We are the thugs.
Yeah.
We are the gang members.
Yes.
We are the ones, the criminals going in there.
The mafia.
And every single person right now needs to go and find a way to protest Venezuela, because that is exactly what's going to happen to Venezuela if we let Donald Trump, the neocons and the neoliberals who are all pushing for war, all in agreement for fucking once. And that is exactly what's going to happen to Venezuela. And we cannot let that happen, because it's not only going to hurt the people abroad, it's going to hurt the people here.
Yeah.
We're already hurting.
Yeah.
And all of our money is going into these wars.
Yeah.
And we need that to stop once and for all. And who we elect as president needs to be completely anti-interventionist, anti-regime change. And that is why I support only 2 people who are like on that train. And that's that, because this is such a big issue for us. It's a moral issue, and it's also an economic issue. And we need to really stand firm. We need to be out in the streets protesting. This is, again, we need an anti-war movement, and it needs to start now, because I don't believe it's strong enough yet.
I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to end the show on that note. Feed getting all savage. We want you to go over to our Convo Couch YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. We have a Twitter. We have a Facebook. We even have an Instagrizzy, fam.
Instagram. God,
so go on there.
You're so Gen X.
I know I am Gen X. Listen, we need you to go over there and help us out. If you have any few bucks, we also have a Patreon. The links are down below. Johnny Tsunami, you got anything to close the show out with? You got your beautiful leather jacket on there. Why don't you click on so people can see your El DeBarge looking face real quick. Johnny. He's taking forever over there. Look at him. He's over there. You got your microphone check. Here we go.
I can't see my face.
All right, you can't see his face. Anyways, there he is, Johnny Tsunami from the Capitol. Thank you so much. Get a light on your face maybe next time.
Nico's about to go live.
Nico's going to go live.
Yep.
Listen,
all right, guys.
We got some new videos up. Like, share, subscribe. Help us out. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella. Stay tuned for Nico. Convo
Convo
out.